Welcome to the stunningly stylized yet straightforward world of Katana Zero. In this game, you take the position of Zero as he stops time and absolutely decimates everyone in his path. Starting off with the tutorial, the game sees us tasked with rescuing some science nerd jack. But then right on the cusp of completing our mission, something strange happens. If you couldn't tell, then this game is very confusing with its storytelling and levels. It chooses to keep a lot of things hidden from the player in favor of having them piece little bits together by themselves, which serves to engage the player, but also can be quite jarring for some, as if you are not paying attention, the game can seem really random at times. Anyway, after the tutorial mission, we get sent to our therapist's office, where we get another dose of some sort of drug and our next target. This level sees us becoming cringe and killing a guy as we're mistaken for this dragon. Regardless of that, we press onwards as our target has some odd words for us before he self-game ends.
I think you should jump.
But after my failed attempt at trying to join up, I just said flop it and went all the way back so that I could kill him and acquire the master's key, which is going to help us out later. After having a brief discussion with our pretty annoying therapist, we get given a dossier that has information on our next target. It mentions how we need to break into a club, sneak through the dance floor and the back rooms facing the mighty scary Terry on the way, and how we must not talk to Radiohead, our target, because he might tell us about the drug we've been on that allows us to stop time, and also some crucial information that our employer and our therapist have been hiding from us the whole time. Shortly after this, we arrive home and get introduced to the best two characters of the game, Behemoth and Leviathan. Moving on from this, we get our next document where we're tasked with breaking into a prison and killing some guy named Fayuan. But once we arrive there, something seems off. Despite this, we push forward until ambushed by the police. It seems that the guy in the hotel isn't the only one mistaking our mass killings for that of the dragons, whoever he might be. Once home, we receive some sort of snuff film from the little girl, and it's a torture video of our noisy neighbors by the same guy who's been lurking around ruining some of our missions. What's more, the next day sees the therapist's office being closed for some reason, and we venture out to the streets until something odd happens. Still not knowing his name, we do a little kid-friendly substance with Bro. Bro is not beating the substance allegations. Get into a fight and chase him and confront him while he's on the phone to his snow bunny. He punches the plopper out of us, so we decide to follow him, battling our way through the movie studio, Pyramid Head, and dark decrepit crypts, until we reach the hard base enjoyer, have a schizo breakdown, and almost get killed by his snow bunny. That was odd. At least tonight's Halloween, so I gave the little girl a fish head. We have our second schizophrenic breakdown of the game, including that guy we saw in front of the hotel. Turns out we've been tripping because the therapist was closed, so we didn't get our medicine. And due to this, a little more droplets of information have been given to us. Apparently we took part in some fight in a jungle, killing not only soldiers, but also... yeah. Either way, we get to our next target and move onwards, getting captured by V, and having a mini boss fight with his gooner. But shortly after this, and a quick but sick highway chase scene later, we meet the real dragon that everyone's been confusing us for. And lo and behold, our next target is the infamous dragon. But it's not a Katana Zero level without a banger soundtrack and a long chase to get to our target. Choosing to don the golden mask of life, we push onwards, till we don't. It seems like the dragons escaped us, but that's okay, because we've picked up a VHS along the way, and took the little girl to pick up some movies for them to watch. How wholesome. But I wonder what was on that VHS tape we picked up earlier. The dragon has some pretty unique abilities, but I don't really find him all that fun compared to Zero. Sure, his ability is cool, but oftentimes the long cooldown it puts on his normal sword slash got me killed. And I find it overall pretty sluggish to play, however I do see the appeal. Irregardless of that, that's just my opinion. It's still a pretty cool section overall, and it doesn't last for very long, so if you don't like it, it's okay. Next up, we get told to go to the slaughterhouse to kill some Val Bean Spleen Alston Heem brother, and that our questions will be answered there. So we go and get greeted by one zesty ass face. Some fighting ensues and some annoying crushes fall on us from the sky. It's one pretty long chase section, especially the end part, but it more than makes up for it with the soundtrack. Meat Grinder is a great track for the slaughterhouse because this is where some of our questions start being answered, but at the start it's quite mysterious and feels quite dark and decrepit at first. It's a very strange track, but eventually builds up to a more catchy theme as you get into the more action-heavy segments where your focus is further on gameplay and less about the story. But once the story comes back in, the track returns to highlight that, and it just makes for a great track overall. By the way, have you noticed that there's been a new mechanic or two added every single level? I've been so conditioned by games like Ghost of Tsushima and the Far Cry games that are passable at best, but never really push the boundaries and add new things to the table. But this game is constantly adding new things and ramping it up. For example, in the first level, you get introduced to the mechanics, characters, and how to fight enemies and use Chronos. Then, the next level, you meet new enemy types, then you get stealth mechanics and strong Terry, then half-enterable rooms, then the minecart, and it just keeps going and going and going till the game at the end is completely unrecognizable to what it was at the start. However, finally, we make it to the 2-stage penultimate level of the game, the bunker. Unless you're watching this when the DLCs come out. In that case, lucky you. I'm just gonna say it, I don't fuck with the bunker. Is it just me, or from Chinatown onward, the game seems to decrease in quality, at least level design wise? Like, don't get me wrong, it's still amazing, far better than most games, Ghost of Tsushima. But it is great in terms of testing the player on the skills they've acquired up until this point. And I'm sure more than many people had a severe skill issue on this room with the turret. I certainly did. The game is then capped off by a fairly fun boss fight, although a little short, I still enjoyed it. And so, that was Katana Zero, a story about a war veteran struggling with his feelings of regret and amnesia over the atrocities he had committed as a super soldier. And so he went searching and found answers, yet so much is left unanswered, which is why I think so many people have been excited for the DLC for so long. Like, what was the dragon after? What happens to Snow? And who was Snow talking to in the end? Especially, what happened to the little girl, who most people don't even think is real. I touched on this briefly with the track Meat Grinder for the Slaughterhouse level earlier, but that really didn't do it justice to the utter masterpiecery that these two composers and DJ Electrohead cooked up. From start to finish, each track feels like it fits the exact mood that each and every scene is trying to play. You've actually been listening to a lot of the Katana Zero soundtrack throughout this video, such as the brilliantly bombastic yet meticulously mastercrafted Chinatown, I could go through every song and break down the attention to detail and utter perfection, but instead I'm gonna stick to my top two, which are Chinatown and Rain on Brick. Firstly, Chinatown. The opening of this song perfectly encapsulates the heightened adrenaline the player is feeling post the chase scene on the highway and meeting the dragon that's been alluded to the whole game. Most normal people would be anticipating a boss fight with the dragon, someone perceived as your equal or perhaps even stronger than you, which is an exciting and thrilling prospect. Furthermore, the track continues with plenty of high notes as you slash and slide through the Chinatown level at a breakneck pace, and it overall matches the neon vibe and Chinese inspiration set by using traditional Chinese instruments such as the pipa, and deep bass with synthesizers for the neon aesthetic. Furthermore, Rain on Brick, the title screen theme of the game, is very quiet and calm. It knows exactly what it needs to do, which is reflect the game's depressing yet mysterious feel, and it does that perfectly by having a deep, depressing piano slowly build up throughout the relatively short track until it eventually fades out and all that's left is the Rain on Brick, symbolizing Zero's journey that slowly gets louder and louder until he finds the truth behind his inception, and the tension, action, and game slowly fade away. Another thing I wanted to talk about are the secrets in this game. There are many secrets in this game, and they're all very cool. For example, when we got the Master's Key at the start of the game, it was so we could unlock the government lab, where you can get 5 different keys that correlate to each different sword. With the Painter's Sword that I've been using, which just changes all the blood effects to paint, and the Claymore, which can reflect multiple bullets, unlike the Katana, which can only reflect one, but it has a shorter swing speed. All these different swords lead to various different replayability options, and it just adds to this utter masterpiece of a game. And if you're wondering why my voice was a bit raspy throughout the video, it's because I've been really sick recently. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If there's anything that I can improve upon, please tell me in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's been BetweenSardine.